What a night. Saturday night's main event delivered chaos, title changes, new world champion, and a John Cena announcement that shook the WWE universe. If you missed it, don't worry. We've got you covered today. We're breaking down the winners, the fallout, and what this means heading into Survivor Series at the end of November, and also into John Cena's final match in December. Can't believe I'm actually saying that. But first, if you're here enjoying the show like every week, please hit that follow button so you never miss an escape. And before we jump in, just want to take a second to appreciate everyone who has been tuning in each week, whether it's a handful of you or really a whole section of the arena. It truly means the world that you choose to spend at least part of your week talking wrestling with me. The show continues to grow because of you and the Escape crew. All right, this week in WWE history, we are revisiting one of the most controversial nights ever. November 9th, 1997. I want to give you guys maybe a few seconds to try to figure out what it's going to be. Survivor Series, Montreal. That's probably where you're figuring it out. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship. Remember, Bret didn't tap. Bret didn't quit. But Vince McMahon called for the bell anyway. In his famous words, Bret screwed Bret. And then the wrestling world changed forever. The Montreal Screwjob didn't just end Bret's WWF career. It triggered the birth of the Mr. McMahon character, which then fueled the Attitude Era and, as we all know, reshaped WWE storytelling for decades to come. Love it or hate it, real or not, it remains one of the most important and most debated moments in wrestling history. All right, it is time for our main event, which is the Saturday night's main event review and fallout. Because this show delivered on drama, surprises, and long-term storytelling. Let's go ahead and go through the matches. The first match we had was Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. This was for the undisputed WWE Championship. The match, I thought, had everything you'd want from a world title showdown. Drew came in with a strategy, of course. He tried to bait Cody into a DQ because if Cody got disqualified or counted out, he would lose the title, which I thought was a nice little twist. Kind of keeps you engaged in that match. And at one point, Drew drove Cody through the announcer's table and nearly won via count. I think Cody got in right at 8.5 or 9 back into the ring. But the finish, Drew shoved the referee. Cody used the title behind the ref's back, hit his crossroads, and sealed the win. Again, we are getting little breadcrumbs, or whatever you want to call it, of Cody still kind of teasing that heel turn. But I don't think this is over. Even though McIntyre keeps losing in ways that just give him even more ammo to snap, which he's already snapped numerous times. We'll see what happens. Cody wins, not surprised at all. That's who I chose. A little part of me wanted Drew to win. But I thought the match delivered. You can tell both those guys have been in the ring for many years, dating back to, I think I posted a reel on this on Instagram. Back in 2010, they won the WWE tag team titles, and they both looked so different. Cody had dark hair. Drew just wasn't his Drew self that he is now. But it's pretty crazy to see, wrestlers, from way back when to now, and now that they're on the main stage. Next match we have was Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. This was for the WWE Women's Championship. This definitely felt like a statement moment for this match. It opened up fast. Tiffany hit a swanton early for a near fall, and then Jade started targeting the knee, which showed power, presence, and poise. And I think she's gotten a little bit better in the ring. I don't know. And of course, Jade walked out with the gold. It kind of felt like a squash match. The match itself didn't last that long. But I do think WWE is clearly setting up a Jade Center type era, if you will, in the women's division. Now, the key is going to be her first challenger. Again, I'm recording this on, what day is today? I don't even know. Recording this on Tuesday, so Monday Night Raw happened last night. So we still don't know. We'll find out on SmackDown between Jade and Tiffany if they're going to rumble again, or we're going to see who Jade's new challenger will be. In terms of the storyline, does Tiffany snap and turn heel? Or do we get just a redemption chase where she says, "Oh, I want my rematch"? I think her next move is going to be critical of what's going to happen with Jade and her title run. But I'm happy for Jade. I know she's got a lot of flack just not being a great in-ring performer. I think creative and Triple H must believe in her enough to give her a shot, much like they did Jey Uso. Jade's only going to get better. I think her character is there. She definitely has the look. Her music is pretty solid. And she's just getting better in the ring, and that's all you can ask for. Next up, I have on my list is CM Punk versus Jey Uso. I'm probably going to be a little too critical of this match. Let's be real for a moment. This is CM Punk versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship that was vacated with Seth Rollins' injury. I thought the match was rough to watch at times. Just from the start, the match never really found its rhythm. It felt slow, disjointed, awkward. Just felt like both guys were calling the match step by step instead of really just letting it flow naturally. You could see visibly and Jay were not on the same page, especially in the early part of the match. Just mistimed counters, almost slow transitions, and just long pauses that I felt kind of killed the crowd's energy, which then in turn killed my energy at home. And again, I'm not an in-ring performer. I'm just going off of my eyes and my years of watching professional wrestling, but I thought Punk looked really rusty in the ring. No sugarcoating it. I think the conditioning, the snap wasn't there. I don't know. Meanwhile, it's like two completely different wrestlers in the ring. Jay thrives off of speed, intensity, and crowd momentum. And we all know Punk is just not matching that pace, and he's more of telling a story of what they want to hit, and it just didn't. There were stretches where I felt like the arena was watching out of respect for Punk, not because they are invested in the match itself. I do think the only saving grace were the last couple of minutes once they started throwing bigger moves, near falls, and playing into emotion. Really, that beginning stretch just felt like a long time. And I think we all woke up at that point. But it shouldn't take 15 plus minutes to get to that, especially in a world title match. Finish was solid, but let's be honest, Punk winning didn't really feel earned based on the performance. I do think it was earned regardless. Jay had more energy and heart, but Punk walks out with the belt. I think more because WWE needed Punk to have that title more so than Jay. The match was a miss. The story, it's okay story. Execution, pretty weak. If this is the start of a feud, I mean, okay, but the match needs serious improvement because this one really exposed, unfortunately, Punk just getting older. And then just a chemistry gap that should not exist at that level for that title. We'll see. I don't think we'll see a rematch anytime soon, especially for Survivor Series. And then on Monday Night Raw last night, they're kind of already teasing, the vision, creating a group with Logan Paul. And then they attacked CM Punk. So CM Punk's going to have to add some guys to his group. So that'd be cool to see how that plays out. The next match, Dominic Mysterio versus Rusev versus Penta. Again, I'm not going in any particular order, just kind of the middle notes that I took. And that was for the Intercontinental Championship. Say what you want about Dom, but retaining in a triple threat against Rusev and Penta is a huge credibility boost. It keeps the Intercontinental title scene fun, chaotic, and I still think unpredictable. I think most of us still had Dirty Dom winning, but I think he has moved beyond fluke champion at this point, becoming a legit roadblock for the mid card. And Rusev versus Penta feels like a story that's not done yet. I think they may kind of put that one off, and those two will go down their route. But all in all, Dirty Dom does what he does best. He plays that heel role, that slick role really, really well. So I think that match was pretty solid. And again, there were only 4 matches. It was on Peacock. And it was just under 2 hours. And not bad. I think it was a pretty solid pay-per-view. Now, or PLE, whatever you want to call it these days. But one other thing that they pointed out in the show, which I thought was very critical, is the last time is now John Cena's final opponent. Now, we're going to talk about John Cena because WWE dropped that bombshell. John Cena announced that his final opponent will be determined through a 16-man tournament called the Last Time Is Now tournament. It begins on Raw November 10th. And it's going to feature, they said, talent from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and John Cena hinted that some names may come from outside the current roster. I know most of us are thinking, oh, is it going to be Chris Jericho or the biggest one? I'm drawing a blank right now. Edge. Hello. Sorry, guys. It's been a long night. One of our kids did not sleep very well, so therefore we did not sleep very well. But yeah, I really want to see Edge. I just want to see them face off. They can have the crappiest match. I don't care. I want to see them inside the ring. But you're going to have 16 competitors. of course, one winner, and then that winner gets the honor and the pressure of facing John Cena in his final match at Saturday night's main event on December 13th. Now, WWE at this point on Tuesday has not released the official 16 names, all 16 names just yet, so the field feels wide open and open to interpretation. You've got your established stars that they'll probably throw in there. You've got your new era breakouts such as Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, maybe LA Knight, Jey Uso again. And then the wild cards, maybe a returning legend, several NXT surprise picks, or maybe a free agent shocker that gets social media melting down. I think they may do a safe play, big name, active main eventer. They'll do an impact play with a rising star that'll get the rub, and then a viral play, a surprise outsider. So all the content creators can show their reactions when going live. No, I do not do that yet. I may do that starting next year when we move into a bigger house, but we'll see. No matter who it is, this tournament is the perfect way to honor Cena, I think, while building the next era at the exact same time. It is time now for our Crowd Speaks segment. So this is your reactions, and we're going to open up the floor, ask for your thoughts over the weekend on Saturday night's main event, and you all delivered like you always do. Can't thank you enough for that. So I got 4 takes that were raw, unedited, and I'm reacting on the spot. The first one is at ropebreak_WWE_blog. They say the reason why many people take a break from watching WWE. I am too. Now, look, I get the burnout. I truly do. But I think for this show, I don't think this was a show that would burn me out or tap out on. If anything, I felt like Saturday night's main event felt like WWE was starting to pick up the gears a little bit, if you will. If you took a break before this episode, this might be the one that'll pull you back in and maybe go back and watch Saturday night's main event. But overall, I do feel Rope Break WWE blog's pain with the burnout. It just depends. I try to silo myself into certain storylines that I really like, and the ones I don't care for, I don't know. I kind of just don't focus on. It's just in one ear out the other. I'm kind of doom scrolling on my phone. So I kind of pick and choose which storylines I'm really involved in. But the burnout is real. I totally get it sometimes. Next up, we have at RealDH88. He went on to say Jey is so going heel later. As for now, Punk as champ is a dub, and that set was beautiful. Could not agree more on the set. I'm all for the nostalgic feels. Presentation was top tier, and yeah, the Jey heel turn isn't a matter of if, it is a matter of when. They keep planting the seeds or breadcrumbs, whatever you prefer. And Punk being champ just gives him the perfect target later on. And it won't happen in Survivor Series. Maybe after Survivor Series, like later that night, when you see the ending credits and then something happens. But yeah, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. And if Jey and Punk have another rematch, I hope they practice a little better. All right, next up we have at Wrestling Chico. Wrestling Chico said it was a predictable show, but it was a really good show going into Survivor Series War Games. You're right. Some finishes were predictable. I think most of us probably would have gotten all those matches right. But predictable doesn't necessarily mean bad when it sets the board for War Games, kind of like what Wrestling Chico is referring to. Sometimes the obvious move is the right move if it gets us to a hotter payoff. So Wrestling Chico, good point on that. In our last take, we have from at alt_wrestling_worlds said Dirty Dom should be in the world title scene. Now, look, I love spicy takes, and this one's spicy, but not yet for me. I do think Dom has leveled up massively as a character, but world title scene, he needs that one defining single suit that proves he can carry that weight, and it could be John Cena at December 13th, Saturday night's main event. If he gets there, I think we can absolutely revisit this conversation, because I don't think it's a matter of Dom if he can make it to the next level. He will. It's just a matter of time. But I think that could be his calling card. All right. Before you go, I got one quick favor. If you are enjoying the Pro Wrestling Escape podcast, hit the follow button. Drop a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It might feel small, but those reviews tell the platforms, hey, this show is actually getting some listens. So let's show this to more wrestling fans. That means we can keep building this community, get more fan takes on the Crowd Speak segment, and dive even deeper into the wrestling moments we all love and hate. Now, speaking of hate, the next few weeks, I will be kicking off a mini series of my top 5 worst Survivor Series of all time and the top 5 best Survivor Series of all time. Again, purely my opinion, but would love to get your guys' take as well. So look out for social media as I ask for your top 5 worst and top 5 best Survivor Series. This is your Pro Wrestling Escape. I'm Kyle, and I will talk to you all next time.